lovely day. Oh, it's pretty good out there today. It's pretty good out there today. Good morning. How you doing? Well, it's that day. That day has come when I finally put out a video about sharpening. And out of all the videos I've done, this is probably the one that I'm probably most anxious about. Partly because it's not scripted and no notes anywhere. I'm just going to do it as I do it and show you some ways for beginners and how they do it. So yeah, let's get in there. Let's start things moving, set you guys up so you can see what's going on, and let's get this one done. After the other two Waterstone videos I've done, there's a lot of information in there, so it's worth looking at those videos. And then from this, I might refer back to a couple of the videos so that you can get some information on preparation and all sorts. So I'm going to go, and I'll catch you guys in a minute. Right, let's put those down there. Might show you those in a minute. And let's get ready for this. It's gone really mild, hasn't it? Yay! It's what we want with the weather. We want it getting mild. Switch a few things on. And let's get you in there so you can see what some of the stuff I've been up to. This is a follow-on to the other two videos, but if you haven't seen those, this will be fine. And let's get sharpening. Right, and we're back. And it's raining. So let's get rid of that. We've got ourselves a cuppa on the go, so that's good. I've been in makeup and had all my makeup done. No, I haven't. Sorry, I've been in beard control, so that I look a bit tidier and a little bit less messy. Right. Okay. So sharpening. So for sharpening, there's two or three different areas of sharpening, and I think I want to start with the beginners. Anybody here who's sharpened and been looking at sharpening before, they'll have watched loads of videos with all the high numbers and everything. I've got a few tips and tricks here that other people aren't doing, nobody's doing, I've seen. And there's a whole thing about guides and things, so I'll get onto that in a bit. So let's just recap a little without boring you. This thing's done now. Let's take these off. This thing's done now. We've now got a lipping all the way around the outside, so we've got an area so that water goes. Right, something I did want to mention, I was thinking about this morning, that others do and I don't. Do you remember the bit about the water? Let me grab my water. So do you remember the bit about using water and I'd unscrew the top for dribble rather than spray? So that's the thing that all the others seem to do, is they all seem to spray water, and that water goes everywhere. And I was thinking about this, and it's worth remembering. Yes, you can use a spray bottle, but every time you spray, you're going everywhere. You're going all over the place. Shall I zoom in? I'm going to zoom in so you can see a bit better. Oh, blimey. That's a bit close, Jeremy. That's all right. So, this is held down now. Hold fast. Yeah, that spray thing. Oh, I've got to show you this as well. Let me just try and get it into shot. So, this is an old container from some hair clippers. And if you watch the previous video, you see me talking about containers to keep the stones in. Well, these haven't been in a container for a little bit, so I'm just going to drop these in there. I really want that one. So what's mentioned sometimes in videos, no, sorry, what I've read about and what I heard about early on in the 80s was that your stones that are the low grit, like this 1200, they will need to be soaked. But from about 4,000 upwards, 4,000 grit upwards, you don't need to worry about them soaking. Oh, I've got to show you this. This is a cool bit. In fact, can you hear it? Can you hear that? I'm going to take you out. This is the air. Oh, come on, focus. So it's the air bubbles coming out. And it's happening pretty much all around the stones. But especially that one. There you go. Anyway, I thought I'd show you that. It's quite a cool bit. I like that bit. Let me just hang on a second. You can still see it bubbling away. So yes, the higher grit stones don't need to soak. So for example, this 10,000 grit can just sit there for a few minutes. 6,000 again can sit there for a few minutes. But I do tend to let them have a good soak. So there's probably a bit too much liquid in this, but now you can see that I can put the lid on there and I can contain them. Yeah, it's not a good container to walk around with, but it's not a bad container to leave on the sink and use like that. So there you go. So there's my first little bit. Let's put that down there. Right, sharpening. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some sharpening. We went over some techniques and bits and pieces. This has had a little soak, but I'm expecting it to dry out. And what I'll do is I'll pull you in every now and then. So, shall I pull you in now? Let's pull you in now. And actually, how's that? Can you see all right? Yeah. So what you can see now, what you might be able to see, is the fact that the water is going to the centre. It's actually showing it up as a bit of a hollow, but it could be the way that the water's just connecting. So, with sharpening a chisel or a plane iron is it's about two faces meeting together. Now, if they were meeting together really incredibly roughly, they would look like here you go. If they were moving together roughly, very roughly, it would be like this log where there's two coming together on this rough edge, right? Chainsaw, bandsaw log. What we're doing with the metal is, and it does depend on the woodworking as well. Oh, you need to see me. I'm going to have to pull you out. Because this takes a bit of explaining. Do you want to go a bit lower? Can you see all right there? I'm going to take you a bit lower. Hang on a sec. Go a bit lower. Right. Let's sort this out. There's a bit of water on there already. See, now this is the thing. One of my students has used this and then he's tightened it back up. That's all right. There you go. A couple of drops. As I say, drops doesn't spray everywhere. So one of the things you want to do with your stone is you want to get depending on what you do. If you do outside woodworking, say you're a carpenter, you're a site worker, there is no point in carpenting guys having a 10,000 grit stone if they're using oak, chiseling for all sorts of things, outside for all sorts. There is no point really in them investing in the time and effort to get razor sharp edges that will be lost within minutes. They might as well just, there's a happy medium. There's a happy medium where, say, a 5,000 grit would do. It'll cut the wood nicely and I don't need to sharpen, because you have to sharpen more frequently. When you get to fine furniture and you get to fine things, you want a finer edge. So the better quality furniture, better quality things you make, the finer the finish. That's what you're after. You all want those lovely shavings, you want that lovely finish. When you're going on to polish, you want the best cut on your plane so that there is no sanding to do, just maybe a bit with a cabinet scraper. That saves you time and effort. So 1200 grit stone, first of all, with sharpening. So you want your back to be flat. Now the reason I'm mentioning this is because some of the backs of chisels and plane irons are not flat. So I'm just going to do this for a second, and I'm going to show you an iron I've got. He says, let me pause you a second, hang on a second. Right, you're back. Let me show you this. So this is my, I think I've shown you this plane before. Let's strip her down because I want to show you the blade and see just how coarse the grinding can be. So this is a can you see? Smooth cut, laminated, made in Japan, Japanese iron. They were all the rage in the 80s. They were fantastic. They still are, and I've still got this one, and it's still going strong. But what I've got to show you is, you see all of that writing there. Jamie, get in the right place. Right, you see all that writing? It's not just about the writing. It's about all of these grain lines. I'm going to have to come behind and show you. It's about all these grain lines off the grinder. So you see all these grinding lines. Some of those are quite deep. Now that is going to interrupt where these two edges you meet, your flat back and your sharp edge. So you need to get rid of all of that. So as you can see, look, it's like a mirror on the back there. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. I mean, look at that, that's great. But you're not going to get that up here because it's so coarse ground. So, but what you need to do is when you work on that, which I'll show you in a second, when you work on that, you start with a coarse grit like the 1200, and then you work your way through the grits until you get a polished back. Once you've got a polished back, you never, ever take it back onto there. I would be ruining that. What is it? It's a 10,000 grit polish. I'd be ruining that 10,000 grit polished rear face if I put it on there and went 1200 grit. Because I'm making 1200 grit scratches that go up to that edge. The scratches go up to the edge and they leave tiny, very tiny little nicks, grazes, cuts in the back of the steel. So this, polish up as good as you can. Now some of my guys that have been, and they've shown me the brand new chisels and all sorts, and the first thing they've had to do is go through diamond stone and then coarse stones to fine stones to get rid of that manufactured grinding face. It's not a good face for fine furniture. If that's what you've got on the back and you're a carpenter and all you do is rip bits off doors and pine doors and MDF and rubbish like that, that'll probably do you. That'll probably be fine. So fine furniture, high quality, polished back makes all the difference. Okay, right. So that's out of the way. We're going to sharpen these two now. So there are two or three different methods. Let's do the chisel first, and we'll come to that in a sec. So the first thing you want to do is you want to find the 25 degrees. Now then, you can buy jigs. Let me zoom in for you. You can buy jigs and things that do all of that, which is great. The only problem is, do you want to spend some of the money that people spend on jigs? And you might not want to. If you've already got a nice 25 degree bevel, so it's a new chisel and it's in reasonable condition, and you've not spent a lot of money on this chisel, then this is fine. So you find that angle, and you do that by lifting the chisel up until the water comes out the front. If I can feel it's horizontal, the face is horizontal, and you can see that's steady as a rock. I can go up a bit more and it's tipping right on the front edge. So it's coming back to there and holding. Right. The blade is 45 degrees across the stone. Right. Now then, what I do is I get people to hold their hands and lock their arms and go backwards and forwards on the front leg, forward leg and back leg, and work the way across the stone. Now if you do that, you can then focus as you're holding that angle on using all of the stone. Don't want to see this too much effort on one part of the stone. You can do figure of eight. Figure of eight, that's how I learned, that's how I was taught. It's just a little bit too much sometimes, especially with a small chisel. You can go straight up, straight down. Waterstones, soft stones, be careful you don't accidentally lift a bit too much and dig a hole in. If you do dig a hole in, it's not the end of the world. What you can do is turn the stone around, because that's good practice anyhow. Turn the stone around, put it in, and you might miss that piece, so you might miss it. If you don't, you get your diamond stone out and you flatten the two together and you remove most of it, all of it, whatever, however bad it is. What you can do is you can just lift slightly on the way back. So let me explain. So on the way back, I can pull it down at 25 degrees. On the way forward, I can pull down a bit so that it's just rubbing on the back here, so there is no danger it's going to dig in. Then back up, then pull. And a lot of people take the weight off, put the weight back on, so it's on my fingers down here, down by the edge of the chisel, and pull it back onto that edge. Weight off, back on, weight off. As you get better at it, you'll be able to hold that angle. Right, here's one of the tips. I have here a block of wood. This is a bit of beech and it's cut at 25 degrees. 25 degrees is the angle that you want your chisels set at. So I put that in there, and this is one of the cheats. Without having a jig, you could, I'm going to bring you down so you can see better. Do you want to see better? Let me bring you down. How's that? Right, so now, let me take these off and get these out of your way as well. So now we've got a block of wood set at 25 degrees. Now this chisel I generally do by hand and I never really check it, so don't shout at me if mine's not 25 degrees. But it means you can put your thumb, behind there, put your fingers down the front end, put your other fingers down the front end and your thumb there, and you can slide that block backwards and forwards with the chisel. Now what good is that doing me, Jamie? Well, it means that you're getting an idea of what's going on. It means that you can see if there's where your angle is going on. It means you've got that there. The other thing that I've mentioned to people is if you put that like that and you hold your chisel, maybe you want to hold it up here, maybe you want to hold it down there, you can practice the angle and then come back. It's like coming back to a base, it's like coming back to home. So if you want to hold a chisel like that and you want to learn how the old boys like myself, whatever, sharpen chisels without a guide, you can set that up and you can go up and down, and that will correct you. Every time you come back, it will correct you. If you're too acute, it will hit the back and then pull you back up. If you're too high, it'll hit the bottom and pull you back down. You can react to that, muscle memory, you can get in with the sharpening and you can bring it back so that it's in the same point. So, block of wood. It's probably the simplest guide, probably the simplest guide that you could make. 25 degrees, job done. I've also got another one set up at 30. We'll try that in a bit. So, let's get some water on here. Let's get this edge sorted. So, back of the chisel, because this poor old chisel still isn't perfect. So, as you can see, I'm using all the stone all the way around. Lots of swirl patterns. Try and use every bit of the stone. I come around the end here like this. I go off the edge like that. That's why it's important to have these bevels, which you can see on the previous video. Right, a bit of water to dip into, that's nice. Right, say I think that back's flat and I'm happy with that. Well, I'll show you it. I am happy with it, but it's it's my old chisel, it still hasn't got that bit. I'm happy with that bit up there, okay? So 1200 grit, as I say, push it up and down like that, hold it at 25 degrees, and you're after that wire edge. So can you feel the wire edge? Now, if you're new to sharpening, you'll be looking for that wire edge all the time, and that wire edge will drive you around the bend. If you're an old hand at sharpening, you'll know there's a point just before all the wire edge. There's a point where you know that that chisel will be sharp, and through experience you don't need that wire edge to be found because you're not far away from it. And by the time you move to the next stone, you'll be polishing, and you'll actually polish the wire edge onto it rather than producing a wire edge. The thing is with wire edges, if you go for the wire edge every single time and you have plenty of wire edge there, all you're doing is you're reducing the length of the chisel quicker. These old boys made these lovely old tools for us, and I would rather people be err on the side of caution and just go to the next stone, which we're going to do now. Go to the next stone if they think they're right. Oh, this is the thing now, look, so that happens like that. That goes there. Here's my little block that sits in the back there. Oh, I've got to tell you, the rubber thing, on previous video, rubber thing around there, I've taken it out and made a new block. The rubber was bothering me too much. So we're now up to 3000 grit. And this is one of those cheap stones. This is about £14 stone. So you can see there's a slurry there, and the back is getting flattened off. So we're now getting that back off. So this is because it's an older chisel. If I was doing the plain blade with that shine, I wouldn't be using this stone yet. I'd still be, I'm only using the stone for the bevel. But on this one we're doing that. Right, so now we can get that up, we can get it to our 25 degrees. I can see the water coming out the front down here. I can feel I've got the angle. So now I can rock myself backwards and forwards and as you can see, the muck is going to the very edge of the chisel. Now this is this new stone. It's making a lot of slurry. So on the way back, I'm just pulling the front down, and the handle, oh, you can't see. So on the way back, where are you? On the way back, I'm just pulling the handle up on the way back and then down to go forward, only a fraction. Right, let's see what we've got now. Remember, I'm not chasing that wire edge just yet. I mean, this chisel has been abused a bit because of the scraping off the silicone off the bottom of that stone, if you saw it in the previous video. So let's try and speed things up a bit. You don't have to do it as fast as this, but you know I've been doing it a while. It's not a race, it's about doing it properly, and you can slow it down. I'm just going a bit quicker for you guys for the video, save you sitting through all of this. Right, so now what I can do, let's just get a bit more liquid on there. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the chisel up to that extra 5 degrees. So I'm going to come up to there, lift it up, no weight on that at all. Pressure down, no weight. Pressure down, no weight at all. Pressure down on it. I don't want the chisel to dig in. And the emphasis is on pushing the front edge of that down, of the edge of the chisel down. I'm just going to turn it over. Don't get me wrong, the wire edge is important, but I'm not chasing it. Where are we? 24 minutes. Oh, and you've probably gathered by now that I don't edit these, so it's real time. No editing later. Sorry about that. But who wants to just see an edited down version? Isn't it good to get a good idea of what's going on? So I'm going to lift the back of the stone. No, lift the back of the chisel handle. That's it. That's all I'm going to do now. I'm going to turn it over. This is the 8000. So I've not done it on this one before. I'm just going to get the Nagura. Get a little bit of slurry up. There you go, you sit there. Right, 8000 grit. So you can see I've carried some of the slurry over from the previous side onto this side. This is only that cheap blade, cheap Waterstone. So I'm not too concerned about cross-contamination, but it just shows it can be done on a budget. So now you can see the colour, it's all going very grey, very dark. There's a lot of steel coming off. That's where where are you? That's where we're up to. That's okay. That's okay. Right, let's drop more water. We'll keep this going because it's nice. Come on. Come on. There you go. A bit too much. I've got to drink some tea. Right. I've just done the back, haven't I? So, back on here. Find the 25 degrees. Lift it a bit. Gently forward. Rock the body. No pressure. A little pressure. More pressure on the way back. A little more. A little more. You can see the colour of the water. It's taking in all that steel. So this is 8000. Flatten the back off. Use all the stone. All the stone. Flatten the back off. The rain's coming down outside. By using all the stone, you're reducing the wear. You're reducing how much effort it takes to polish the two, to rub the two stones together. So that's good. Less wear is a very good thing. Right, let's just have a... Okay. So, let's see where we're at. You can just see the edge. Oh, it's really awkward to show you. You can just see the edge shining. You can just see, can you see reflections? There isn't a perfect highlighted edge yet. I get that when I use my other stones. So it's interesting to use these stones and see what these are like. Let's raise the bar a little bit and let's go to my 10k stone that I do like. Right. Hello you. Right, let's sort this. So, on the back, and straight away, the chisel wants to stick to the stone. It wants to, it's separating two pieces of wet glass is very sticky, isn't it? That's what's going on. The stone wants to move around in the, let's get the Nagura. Let's get a bit of slurry up. There you go, bit of slurry, that's great. Back on there. Now this is not a cheap stone. The one I just used was a cheap stone. This was, I paid £55 for this when everybody was selling them for 70 something. So it's a, I think I said it's a king. I think it's a king. I looked for it the other day and I couldn't find really is gripping. Right, let's look at the back now. So let me get it in a good light so we're not wasting time. Can you see now that, can you see that? You can see the phone. So the back is being polished, and by the time that goes all the way up to the edge, that'll be great. But can you see there's a shine on that edge? That's because this poor chisel's had a bit of abuse. So let me stop you wobbling. So because I did that, so there's a shine on that edge. That shouldn't be shining. So this isn't really a good example. I'll still put this video out anyhow. But that shouldn't be shining. That should look like that there. Nothing at all, just a dead end. So that's because of the abuse it had from the previous video, because this is my little workhorse. I should have got the posh chisels out, shouldn't I? Right, let's get on with it. We're going to take it up to the 30 degree. So find the 25, so you find the angle, and then you just lift it up a little bit more. So I'm happy there. And it doesn't have to be precisely 30 degrees. Where's my little 30? Here's my little 30. Should we try it on the 30 for a minute and see what it looks like? Yeah, let's do that. So this is me showing you how you can use this block to achieve your 30 degrees without buying a guide, an expensive guide. I've decided I'm not going to do plain blade on this one. All I'm going to do is this chisel and show you this chisel. The next video can be plain blades. So let's have a quick look at this. Let's just dip it in the water. Let's just clean the edge. That works, doesn't it? That works. It's great. Right, let me just sort this out before. Can you see? All I'm doing is I'm wiping it on my apron. Right, let's get back to you guys. So there's that very edge shining. The back isn't brilliant yet. Where are you? The back isn't brilliant yet because it's got that shine just down here, and you can see that shine on the top end. As I said, it's fine. Anyhow, I'm just going to show you. Let's just grab a piece of wood. So stay there a sec. Don't know what that's for, so I can't use that. There you go. So let's bring you down. Let's bring you down here. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. Right. That chisel. As you can see, it's not perfect. Let's get you closer. Right. Let's make sure you guys can see what's going on. You can see that chisel isn't perfect. You know, you can see the round on the back of there, so you know it's not perfect. But on that round, on that edge, that you can still see the shine there. If I go that way, you can see it. That little radius, it's still performing. It's still sharpening. It'll sharpen pencils, it'll do all sorts this one. It doesn't really get to do my joints. So, let me come round to you. So, there you go, there's my chisel. You can see that little bit there in the middle, that's from the hollow grinding, which I do less of now, but that was from some hollow grinding, sorting it out. You can see that edge is, right on the edge is razor sharp. There you go, look at that. Razor sharp, 34 minutes, sorry guys. The back, as you can see, if I pull it in, I'd have to take the what's it out. Trying to find the angle. You can see the reflections anyhow. The back is getting more polished, but I don't really need it polished because I've got to get rid of that. But as you can see, it's working. Can you just see that corner? Right on the corner there. Do you remember me saying on the last video about scratching the stone, and I said it's taking the corner off. There you go, look at it glint. And that's shining there. So it's still not ready, but don't forget, that back needs to be flattened off a lot more. So I'm just showing you how to sharpen and get the stance right. So let's go. Back to that. 35 minutes, solid. But things take time. You don't learn this stuff quickly. It takes a while to learn it quickly, and they'll all edit and chop bits out, but you won't get the real time what's going on. So that's done now. I still need to flatten it. I'm going to do another video. I'm going to do another video on plain blades because I've got an easier way of doing plain irons and sharpening those and getting them good. So I'll do that. But for now, thank you very much. Where are you? For now, thank you very much to all the patrons and buy me a coffee guys, thank you. There's another couple of people in May, and to Ian and Gary and Andrew, Georgina, Mark, and the rest of the guys that are helping me out and keeping me going through all this. Thank you very much, people. It's brilliant, and my videos will get better, and you'll be able to watch these back and learn from them, even if some of you aren't here to take part with the workshops. Thank you very much. Catch you again. Cheers. Don't forget to like and share with people. Share, please share. Okay, take it easy. I'm going to go now. Have a good day.